Q&A. I don't particularly have a topic. Hi everyone. I just thought I'd do a live Q&A. I don't have a topic to go through in particular. There's a couple of things that I can update about, but I was just keen to see if people had any questions, whether they are struggling with entering the lottery at the moment, whether they are still confused about what's happening with DV2020 or DV2021 questions or the election, various things. So as a few more of you join, I can see now we've got a bunch of people. Feel free to pop your questions in the chat. I'm going to try and just answer the questions and keep up the questions as they come through. So first question, first person in, Mohamed. Any news about DV 2020? No, there isn't. There is actually a status hearing today, but there's no real news about that. For now, we're just in a waiting mode about DV 2020. We know there are a number of visas reserved. We know that there will need to be more legal argument, and that until we can get that legal argument clarified, we don't know how those remaining visas will be issued, or whether they will be issued even. We're just in that holding pattern at the moment. Misha is asking, on my application I put 0 for the number of children. Is that okay? It's okay if you've got no children, yes. Make America sane again. Absolutely. 8 days. In 8 days' time, there's going to be a vote. And we may not know the answer immediately, Cesar, but I truly hope it goes the right way. I saw another YouTuber, by the way, saying that it doesn't make any difference whether Biden gets in or whether Trump gets in, and this guy talks about lottery matters. That couldn't be more wrong. That's such an idiotic view, frankly. Politics matters. Politics matters to us in our everyday lives, and it's affected many of you. The people that that listen to my videos, very well how you've been affected by one idiotic, fool in the White House. And so to say it doesn't matter who gets in, that's ridiculous. Of course it matters. If Trump wins, we're going to have more of the same. We're going to have continued bans, extensions of the bans, more clumsy, ineffective, pointless bans, a reduction of immigration in general. On the other hand, if Biden gets in, he'll deal with things in a more logical way. I don't say for one moment he's going to do everything right. He won't do everything right. He's human. He'll make mistakes, but he'll do things in a sensible, sane way. So that's a far different thing. Alex Matuma is asking, how come the visa bulletin has delayed so much? It is very delayed. So there's been the visa bulletins have been later and later in recent months. Again, it's another example of the chaos going on at the with Trump at the wheel. But it doesn't really matter, to be honest. The visa bulletin being late, I expect it will probably come out today or tomorrow. It doesn't really affect anything. It would normally be put out by the 15th, but then in recent months it's been sort of getting later and later, about 22nd, 23rd. Today I think will probably be one of the latest days that we've seen, but don't worry about that particularly. Tuck, I have just secondary level, not yet passed. Can I apply DV? So let me know. Right. So again, this same Muppet that was talking about politics doesn't matter. Also, because I just get pissed off with the stupidity that comes across, and I get frustrated because people are listening to that crap. Crazy. Anyway, in that video, the answer was given that you have to have the education level met on the day that you apply for the lottery, that you enter the lottery. That's not true. That's just completely not true. You need to be able to pass the requirement on the day that you interview, which will be in a year from now or a year and a half from now. So anybody can, even if you're 16 years old, you may not meet the requirements today at 16 years old, let's say, but you can enter today. And if by the time you go for an interview, you can meet the requirements for education or for work experience, then you can pass. So go ahead, Tuck. Go ahead and enter. Harry, I gave update about DV2020 at the beginning of this call. So we're just in a waiting mode at the moment, Harry. Nothing particularly to report. Ahmad is asking, being a DV2020 winner and being in Group 5, do you think I should sign up for DV2020 or just be patient? Absolutely sign up for DV2022. Why not? There's no harm in it. So even people that are winners of DV2021, they should be entering DV2022 as well. Why not? There's no harm in it. It doesn't cost you anything. Why not enter? Okay, why do not send confirmation page for DV2021? I don't know what that means, Razlam. Could you make that clearer? Mohanid, thanks for a reminder about the hearing. I almost forgot. It's in about, it's been about an hour's time, I think. Visa bulletin is much later than normal, says Valdomero, beg your pardon. Yes, it is, but again, don't worry about that. Okay, so freedom of speech. Hi, welcome back. How can you change your US address after the DS260 application? You can change it before the interview, right? You can ask to unlock. You can change it at the interview, and you can change it at the port of entry, where you fly into America the first time you're activating your status. That's the times that you can change that address. If you don't do it on any of those times, then you'll screw yourself over because they'll send the green card to the address that they had on the DS260 when you entered the USA. Okay, so, and that will cost you $500 because it will be lost, and and you'll have messed yourself up. Bundix is asking why is there no VB for November. I don't know why they're so late, Bundix, but as I say, I'm not really worried about it. It's not a big problem. Okay, new visa bulletin. So I'm expecting the VB to come out probably today or tomorrow. Several questions about the VB. Dmitry Klemenko is asking, can you apply for H1B if you're a DV winner? Yes, you can. The DV process takes a while. The H1 process is actually slower. So you can apply for it, but it will take plenty of time. I was an H1 holder when I transferred to green card, and the two of those, the H1 visa is considered a dual intent visa, which means it's not affected by the fact that you've applied for immigration. So yes, go ahead and apply. Juliana, very worried about our visa in the passport. Very, very worried. Why are you worried? You have to give me a clue why you're worried, Juliana. Chris S. I requested KCC to unlock my DS260 on Friday, but I haven't gotten an email yet. How long does it usually take? It normally takes from a couple of days to a couple of weeks, roughly. It depends how busy they are. But I have noticed that they seem to have downgraded their staffing at the moment. I suspect they've reduced staffing levels at KCC because there's not very much going on, and so they've stopped taking phone calls, which is weird. On some days they just turn the answer machine on, and I suspect they're doing less work. Now the staff at KCC are contract workers; they're not permanent staff. So the idea of that is that they can scale up and scale down the number of staff they need to cope with the workload. So I think they've scaled it down. So anyway, so in terms of how long they will take to respond, give them a week or two, and then ask again. Lahiru says, I've applied for DV2022, but I'm doing my bachelor's in my country. It will end in DV20 in 2022. It won't affect you because the process is very long. So if you're applying for the lottery now, you're entering the DV lottery now, Lahiru, you won't find out whether you're selected until May of next year. That's May of 2021. Interviews won't happen until the beginning of October 2021 until September 30th, 2022. It's a long period of time. And then people will be entering the USA from DV 2022 winners in 2023, right? In early 2023. So, it takes a long time. So you'll have finished your degree by the time you get a chance to process. So don't worry about that. Abu Kane, how qualified DV photos are selected? How qualified DV photo? So how are cases selected? Well, it's completely random selection. It's not based on your photo in any way. If your photo meets the technical requirements, then your case can be selected. They don't care how pretty you are or how ugly you are. I got a green card, right? So they don't care how how you look. It needs to be technically accurate. Go Joe Biden, absolutely well done, Nicola. He's so much better than Trump, honestly. There's just so many evidences of that anybody with half a brain can figure out. Yosef says, has KCC stopped document request email for DV2021? I saw a new email today. There seems to be less activity, yes. They tend to have this thing of doing just enough work, right? I wish they wouldn't do that, but they do. And so they clearly have more people ready for interview than they need for the time being. And they're not scheduling interviews at the time being. So, so I think they're probably, not requesting so many cases. Coffee says, I mistakenly omitted one number on my passport, so I submitted a new entrant. Is that double entry? Of course it's double entry. You know it is. Right? You got two confirmation numbers with slightly different I mean, it's clear. Obviously, they're going to catch you. Obviously, you knew what you were doing. Come on. They're not stupid, Coffee. Neither am I. Waris Durrani. Hello, have a good day. I want to submit DV lottery for my dad. There is a question that include your children. Should I enter those who are under 21 or all those who are under 21 and above? When you're entering the lottery, you include unmarried children under the age of 21, even if they're under the age of 21 by 1 day, right? It doesn't matter whether they're going to be too old by the time you get selected and that sort of thing. If on the day you enter, you have children under the age of 21, you put them on the application. Jose Luis says, do you still see all CM becoming current for DV 2021? I don't think I've ever said that. Jose Luis. So saying, do I still see all CM becoming current? No, I've never seen that. So I still don't. And obviously, the delays in starting processing, if they start interviewing in January, then we've 9 months is enough. If, on the other hand, they don't start sending 2NLs until January, which means they won't be interviewing until March, we'll be in trouble. There's not enough time if they do that. So we'll have to see. Vladevsky, DV 2020 winner here. What if I apply for 2022 and got selected in May again, and the current procedure is still active? That's fine, no problem. 2022 is going to be processed in October 21 to September 22. DV 2020 won't still be going at that point. All right. So, Ibrahim Kasim, can you reapply 2021 if you applied in 2020 and didn't win? Yes, you can apply one time per person every year, right? And a married couple get one chance each, right? It's just one entry per year every year. Gediminas is saying, what do you think? Who is going to win? I think Biden's going to win. There's a massive amount of early voting. Early voting is generally Democrats. There is still a large number of people that support Trump. I don't understand why he's killing them. 225,000 people are dead. And it's often poor people that support Trump, frankly, because they're not listening to the CDC. They're listening to the Muppet in the White House. So I don't know why people support Trump, but some do. But thankfully, it's not that many. So they're very vocal. They're very loud, but there's not that many of them. So I'm hoping. I mean, there's a chance that Trump still wins, but but I hope not. Raid and Adnan says, could you please explain about country of eligibility for the DB program, when we put yes or when do we put no? Okay, so question number 5 asks where is your place of birth? Let's say you're born in France, right? So question number 5, you say, I'm born in France. It's always where you're born. It doesn't matter where you live. It doesn't matter what your passport says. Nothing. The place of birth is the most important question, right? That's the first question. You have to put that right. Then the next question, question number 6, says, are you claiming eligibility, or chargeability as it's technically called, based on the place of birth, right? So if you are claiming France being your place of birth is how you're claiming eligibility, then your answer in question 6 is yes, and then you don't select another country. On the other hand, if for some reason that you're born in France, but let's say your spouse is from Australia, right? And you decide you want to cross charge to Australia to be in the Oceania region lottery, and doing so in that particular example would increase your chances of selection quite a lot, if that's true, right? So you could then say no to question number 6, country of eligibility, and you could pick Australia based on your spouse's place of birth. But not many people should be using these exceptions. You really only want to be using the exception if there's no other way of entering, and then you've got to have a legitimate reason to use the exception. So so basically that's it. Normally for most people you're going to be answering your actual place of birth in question number 5, and you'll select yes in question number 6, which means you don't select another country there. Okay, Raid, I hope that explains it completely for you. Mohammed, before in DV lottery, the passport number was not important, and the passport number is important, and yes, it's important. It's required this year in DV 2022, and that reduced the amount of fraudulent entries. And so, it's a good thing, and it will catch out people like the gentleman earlier that said, "Oh, I left one number off my passport number, so I applied again a second time." Oh, that's going to work. No, it isn't. Because that's what the passport rule is about. It's designed to catch people like that are just trying to cheat. Okay, so if you've got 2 applications, and if they don't have it figured out that you've got these multiple applications, which I find hard to believe because they know about IP addresses and everything else. If they didn't find that out, then you would, let's say you got selected with the passport number that's wrong, you have to show that passport, and you haven't got that passport. So you're just making, you're just giving yourself chance of disqualification in the draw process, permanent banning from the draw process, and you can't process that case anyway. So it's stupid, so don't do it. Urgent service. That's a good name. Sir, I am worried. Some people are saying that only plaintiffs get a chance to get a visa. What about us who didn't fill plaintiffs? Please, sir, help us. You're talking about DV 2020, I presume. We don't know who's going to get processed. There may be a preference given for plaintiffs. That's possible. There is more likely to be a preference given for people who are already at the embassies. That's very likely, and low case numbers, right? But we don't know who will be given preference. I do think in a way it's unfortunate that some people who could afford to pay for for the lawsuits somehow sort of jump up their importance in line. That's unfortunate, but that's kind of it's kind of life, isn't it, really? So it's just the way it is. Hamza is asking, if Biden wins, what does it mean for 2021 winners? Okay, so I think what will happen is this. Biden has talked about, even at the debate the other night, talked about the Muslim ban, for example. It's likely, therefore, that he will remove these bans. That'll be the most obvious immediate impact of Biden being elected. It wouldn't happen on November. It would happen after he comes into office in January 20th, right? So it would be in the next few days after that. He could remove the travel bans. He could remove the coronavirus, the COVID restrictions on travel from Europe, for example. He could. He might not. We don't know. He would remove, I'm pretty certain, the immigrant ban, 10014, 10052. He would remove those. So he, if Biden gets in, he will move to change those immediate bans. In terms of policy, it's yet to be seen what Biden policy changes will be made to change immigration. There may be a chance to reform immigration, but these things take a long time, and a president on his own can't change laws. He needs the Congress, the Congress and the Senate, in order to go along with those things, and they're just not in agreement. I mean, if there's no agreement to change a law, the law stays as it is, right? And so immigration is likely to stay as it is for a little while because there's just no way to get an agreement. So it depends whether whether the Democrats get control of the House and the Senate and the White House. So we'll see, Hamza. I hope that clarifies it for you. Anastasia. If I'm born in Russia but also have the citizenship of another country where I currently live, can I only use my Russian passport? I have a long-term tourist visa for US on the country's other passport. Okay, so Anastasia, first thing is your place of birth is Russia. That's just the way it is. In terms of the documentation that you show, you can use whatever passport you have. Right? It has to be a passport, can't be a visa. So whatever passport you have, and you process from wherever you live. So it doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter what passport you have, the passport must be valid and it must be unexpired on the day you entered the lottery. Okay. Osama says, quick question, and then doesn't ask a question. Okay. Okay. Jazz Beer says, hi, Brent. I entered birth city as state in the form of my derivative as it's on her passport. Will it disqualify our entry? No, it won't. No problem. Winnie, hello. How are you? I've seen you before, I believe. Hello, Simon. I'm just wondering, time is going on, and if the 9095 visas will be issued, how much time will the recipients have to enter the US? It's a good question. We don't know for those 9095 whether they're going to backdate to September 30th, or whether they'll just give a new visa date. We don't know. So, those people we don't know when that's going to be decided, when they're going to be issued, and how much time they're going to be given in order to enter the USA. The normal thing is that you do your medical and you have 6 months after the medical in order to enter the USA, but we don't know how that will apply in these particular cases. So Mimi, what will happen to those who get the visa if the ban is extended? Right, so if Trump gets back in and extends the ban, if Trump is in, then we may be able to fight again through the courts to sort of tear down the ban. We'll have to see, and there is a lawsuit that's just starting to do just that, just in case the ban is extended. But the ban itself is effective. The Judge Mehta ruled that the president has the right to stop entry. So, and we didn't win that part of it. They're still fighting that part of it, but we didn't win that part of it. And so, there is another lawsuit happening in California to fight that part of it. But we'll see whether that succeeds or not. If, on the other hand, Biden gets in, then on January 20th or very soon after, I think the immigrant ban will be removed, even if Trump has extended it after the election. Deepak Jabbar says, is there any update or hope for DV2020? I think I've talked about it. Deepak, please rewind and you'll see my comments about that. Lija Kralev says, when will interviews for DV2021 start? I'm hoping they will start in January, but that means they need to be informed about the interview dates in November, which is coming up soon. So if KCC decides that they don't want to send 2NLs until the ban is removed, then it could be even later than January before we get interviews, and that would be a problem. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see when the interviews start. I'm hoping it will be January. That gives us 9 full months, and those 9 months are normally the busiest months anyway. So we would have time to issue all or the quota. That doesn't mean that everyone will get visas, by the way. We've still got the problem that we've got 132,000 people have been selected, and there's only 55,000 visas, right? So we know that a lot of them don't apply. Some people will be refused, So it's true that they need more than the number of visas in order to fill the quota, but 132,000 is too many. So so that's a problem. We have to see how that will play out. Ruan says reissued new visa. Good. First visa issued before 23rd of April. Embassy said don't travel before 31st of December. Not any annotation. You actually aren't banned. Ruan, depending on your family situation, if you're single and you don't mind spending the money on a flight, I would go prior to December 31st. If you had a reissued visa, particularly that you can show in your passport, then you have the right to enter before December 31st. You're not affected by the ban, but it depends who's interviewing you, not interviewing, but who's admitting you at Border Patrol, whether they understand the rules correctly or not. And some of them don't understand the rules correctly, so they may turn you away, but it won't cost you your visa. So it's your call whether you want to try or not. Some people have tried to enter the USA. Some have been turned away, and some have been allowed to enter incorrectly, actually. But yours would be correct. You would be able to enter the USA. Maruf says, can you apply for H1B if, I think we already did this one, Maruf. Yes, you can apply for the H1B. Ruthlove says, hi Simon, I'm a DV2021 winner. My case number is AF42XXX, no email yet, and I'm pregnant already. Will it affect anything? Right, being pregnant doesn't affect anything. Being pregnant is fine. Your case number means that you're going to wait several months before your case number is ready for interview anyway. So no need to stress about the time. Just relax, concentrate on making a baby, and in due course you'll get your interview. If the baby has arrived before the interview, then there's a way of adding the baby to the case and processing the baby. If the baby is born after the interview, there's a different way of adding the baby to the case. There's in all cases, in all scenarios, there's a way of adding the baby to the case once the baby is born. But until the baby is born, there's no baby to discuss, right? You're just pregnant. Aquam says, welcome to me. Well, welcome. Thank you. Dan Daniel says, my friend is a DV2020 winner and he was appointed for interview for February 2020, but the embassy didn't respond to him yet. Does he have a chance to be included in the reserved 9,000 visa? Yes, so that's the most likely chance. If somebody was already appointed for interview, but February, why did he? So he was appointed for interview. I don't think you mean. So he probably got a 2NL in February for an April interview, I'm guessing. But there were no February interviews cancelled because of coronavirus or anything else, because even though Trump knew, none of the rest of us knew how bad this COVID virus was going to be. So I think you mean an April interview, and in that case, yes, if there are 9,000 visas and we win the case finally, and KCC start processing, one thing they will do is probably say to the embassies, okay, you can now reschedule cancelled interviews, and so your friend would get a chance that way. Laurentiu, after a long time, miss you, Brit. Yes, I haven't been. There's not been very much to say, frankly. The lawsuit is in a waiting phase. DV2021 is kind of on hold. I did some videos helping people on DV2022 entry, and that's going on now, and hopefully people are entering, but there hasn't been very much for me to say, so that's why I wanted to do this, just to catch up with you guys and see if everybody is calm. Okay, so freedom of speech, I think we've already answered the DS260 change of address thing earlier on. You can review the video if you didn't hear that. DV2021 SA43XX, that's one of the highest SA numbers, right? So is there any chances for you, LE Square? you'll have to wait and see. You know, a lot. It's very different this year. You got Venezuela with problems. You got Cuba, who've got low rates of processing, and you got Peru, who are an unknown quantity. So South America region, with all the stuff going on, and South America region, the three big countries having those things going on, it's not possible for me to say where the cutoff will be, if there's a cutoff. Yusuf, any update for the visa bulletin? No, I think soon. We should get that today or tomorrow. Somalia. Okay, so Daha Ali is asking, is there any impact to Somalia? Yes, under the current bans, you're banned. Right, Somalia is one of the banned countries, so you can't process your case currently. But if Biden gets in, you'll have a chance. Country of eligibility, we did. When Cook will start filling. Trey Yates, when Cook will start filling. I don't know. Who's cooking? Make your question clear, Trey. Monica Paul says, what do you think will happen with proclamations if Biden wins? Yeah, as I've already explained, I think he'll remove the proclamation. So Monica, if that, hopefully go back and you'll see what I was saying about that. That's going to be the biggest, most obvious impact from Trump losing the election. But it won't be until January 20th, 2021. Sorry. Stephen Senkumba is saying, you won 2021, but you haven't submitted the DS260. That's fine. It's not too late. No, it's not too late. You can do that. Akum is asking, am I healthy and with my family? Everything's fine. Everything is great. I'm working from home. I ride my bike for an hour and a half each morning. I'm healthy, doing great. Loving life at the moment. ACCO, when applying for application is not connected, why? Yeah, so there's a few people who are struggling with this. They go through the 2022 application, they press submit, and they get an error, so they don't get the confirmation code. Now, if you saw my entry where I recorded myself doing an entry, I had the same problem, right? And what fixed it for me was I went faster. I make sure I don't have 30, 40 browser windows open. I make sure I've got a good internet connection, and then I go through the application as quickly as I can and not making mistakes, right? I mean, you know the questions. It shouldn't take you a long time to do the entry. So do the entry quickly, press submit, and I did it 2 or 3 times to get it to work. So just do that. I've had some people who can't figure it out. I don't know why, other than that, try different browsers, clear cache, maybe make sure your internet connection is good. There's things you can do, but ultimately, maybe just go to somebody else that you trust, like a friend, and sit with them, maybe on their computer or something, and enter it that way. But do keep your personal information private to yourself, right? Mashu 007, the sort of the James Bond of the Muslim world, apparently, is asking, is there any ban on Muslims in DV 2021? The existing Muslim bans, I'll call them Muslim ban, they're called the travel bans now, travel ban 3.0, was primarily focused and originally intended, obviously, to ban Muslims or people from Muslim countries. It doesn't specifically ban Muslims, but if you're one of the countries involved, then you're affected by the ban, and that affects 2021. That's almost certain to be removed by Biden, pretty quickly once he takes office in January. Almaz says, hi Debro, is KCC starting sending 2021 email or still working on 2020? If you contact KCC about 2020, DV 2020, they say it's over. If you contact the embassy, they say it's over. They are not working on DV 2020 right now, right? But they're not doing that much on DV 2021 either. So they are working on 2021, but not very fast. So there you go. Daniel Guerrero is asking, can you apply for 2 consecutive years? Yes, you can apply 2 consecutive years. You can apply 1 time every year, right? Okay, I need to scroll down a little bit and speed up. Okay, Kifle Kubram says, I really appreciate your effort to help DV winners. I am DV2020 and case number around less than 7,000. So may I have a chance for interview? Maybe. You have to wait and see what happens. Just have to, wait for that. Well, I've explained that a couple of times in this video. Raheel says, can my child bad photo disqualify me from DV 2022? No, people worry about kids and photos. They shouldn't. It's not important to your application. So it should be right. It should be technically correct, but it's not going to get you disqualified. Yeah, 2020 selectees. Fatorma is asking, can you apply for DV 2022? Yes, you can. You have to be patient about DV 2020, but in the meantime, apply for 2022. Why not? Okay, just see what, Emmanuel, I just answered that question. Abdallah Mo, I'm at AP as a DV 2020 winner. During this process, my passport expired. Should I have issued a new one? What should I do, sir? Well, at the moment, don't do anything. But if you get a chance for one of the 9,095 visas, you'll need to produce your new passport to the embassy. But at the moment, they won't be interested. Okay, Abdullah. Mahasona is asking, can we slightly change the brightness of the DV photo? Yeah, you can. Just be a bit careful. Don't make it very obvious that it's been edited, because they don't like editing. Ivor React to 2.0. You're the second version of yourself. DS540 5540 apply for 2021 or not? Yes, it applies. The COs can ask for it, so still fill it out, just in case, right? Melvin says, is there any problem with a woman apply for DV lottery with a maiden surname and valid unexpired passport while she has a marriage surname? No, not a problem. My wife was in that exact position, so it's not a problem. Go ahead and apply, and you'll sort it out later. Okay, when you're married, you may not have changed your passport yet. You should do. You should change your passport, but nevertheless, you have documentation that shows why this old passport has your previous name. Now, if you renew your passport and continue to use your old name, that starts to get a bit weird. That wouldn't be good, right? It's like, why are you trying to maintain two identities? Don't do that. Okay, Fiona, will the travel immigrant bans be removed immediately, relaxed in case Biden wins? Yes, I've answered that. It won't be until January, but pretty quickly, I think, after that. Ricardo Antonio, what's happening with the DV 2021 lawsuit? It should be being filed about now. Do you recommend participating? It's a difficult one. I very much appreciate what all the lawyers have done. The DV 2021 lawsuit has some problems in it. There's no harm being done yet, and we saw Jim Hacking, another lawyer, try to challenge the immigrant ban early in, I think it was April or June, and the judge at that time took the view that there was no harm being done, whereas later we won because there was harm being done. It's too early to say there's harm being done. That's one problem. The other problem is that many people who signed up to be in that lawsuit aren't even current yet, so they can't be processed, and a lawsuit can't mean that KCC have to process you if your number is not current. So if you've got a very high case number, you're going to have to wait for that anyway. So I don't know. I mean, I love that they're challenging the bans, because that might become important. But to me, the timing of it was not great, and I kind of regret that. But so on the 2021 lawsuit, it's just a bit early. And I understand why they're fighting it now, but it's a bit early. Clash says, can we select no degree option? It doesn't matter whether you select degree or no degree, or whatever option you select, it doesn't affect your chance of selection. Later on, you have to tell the truth about your education. So yeah, select anything you want. Maruf says, can you apply for me for DV Lottery America? So I say time and time again, don't trust anybody with your application. So don't trust me either, right? Do it yourself. It's a very simple process. You don't need me to do it for you, Maruf. I heard from someone only this morning who had applied through an agency, and now they're a winner. They know they're a winner. The agency is asking for more money because they're a winner, right? It's corrupt. It's terrible. It's blackmail. So why give someone that power over yourself? If you do that, you're a fool. So don't. No, I'm not going to apply for you, Maruf. What is Mahasona? Mahasona is asking, what's the portion to Sri Lanka from the green card pool? There isn't an allocation per country. There's a cap per country of 7%, but that's not an allocation. That's just a sort of an upper limit that no country can exceed. But that doesn't mean that any country has an allocation of 7% or any other allocation. So Sri Lanka, like every other country, the more people that enter the lottery within the region from one particular country, the more selectees they'll get. That's the way it works. It's just within the region. So that, so there you go. They can get more or less winners. Depends on how many people enter. Raid is asking dozens of times the same question I've already answered. Raid, don't do that. If Biden wins, can he lift the ban before his swearing in, says Jamilu. No, before he's sworn in, he's not the president, so we have to deal with Trump the Muppet until then. 5540, yeah, I've answered that. Do you think DV 2021 will become current? It's too early to say anything like that. Mathematically, I would say no. Timing is going to be difficult, but there's so many things could change. I don't know. The other thing is, if Biden comes in and he removes the travel ban, so that the travel bans affect about 18,000 selectees out of the 132,000. So those 18,000 selectees, if Biden comes in and removes all the ban, we'll all go, great, yeah, great. But 18,000 people who are in banned countries like Iran, like Yemen, and so on, right? Those people will suddenly become eligible to process their cases, which will be bad news for everyone with high case numbers, right? So that's the way it works. Now, you can't complain about that. That's fair. That's how it should be. But that's the reality. So Biden winning will be good news for most people and bad news for high case numbers. But then those, people blocked by the ban, that's daft anyway. Raid, how many times are you going to ask this question? Jess Lumabao says, EB3 other worker caregiver. Jess, I only answer DV lottery questions. I don't I don't answer questions about any other type of visas. Dentuish, DV 2020 visa issued on the 29th of September. Great. Received it visa on 6th of October, but they'd made an error, sent it back, and it's taken long to get back. They had said 3 business days. Any reason? I don't know. Ask them. Don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Just ask them. Andrew Kweku Hammond says, when will KCC start interviewing? I answered that earlier. I'm hoping January, could be later. Dentoish says, thanks for all the effort I put in for DV 2020. You're very welcome. I couldn't not do it. It's sometimes if you're walking down the street and you see someone being attacked by someone, it's your duty as a human to help, right? And sometimes that puts you at personal risk. But it's still your duty as a human being. You can't not do it. And I felt the same way about DV 2020. And I spent a long time on that. Took a lot of my personal time, and did some things I'm not very comfortable with doing, like revealing my true identity and that sort of thing, including my home address. But but sometimes, as I say, you have to do the right thing because you're a human. You can't do anything else, right? Desperate hiking. Is it okay if I submitted documents for DV2021 in late August and there is still no? Yeah, absolutely, it's okay. Desperate hiking. What's your case number? If your case number is relatively high, there's no rush, right? So don't worry about it. If your case number is low, well, they're not scheduling interviews yet anyway, so don't worry about it. And don't be desperate when you're hiking. Hiking's great. You don't have to be desperate. Mubarak, my CN is about 19K. Helps if you tell me your region. I think you're probably Asia 19K, but Asia 19K, Africa 19K, they're different, right? So you have to tell me your region. You submitted your DS2 3 months ago, but still not yet. So if you're Asia 19K, that's actually quite a high number. So, you're going to be waiting months anyway. So don't worry about the fact they haven't responded to you. Raid Adnan says, please answer my questions. Raid, you ask the same question time and time again, and I've answered the question, but I'm hoping by now you heard the answer. So, but just repeating the question every 5 seconds doesn't help. It just makes all the questions fly by and makes it harder for me to answer the question. So please stop doing that. Winnie, time is going on. I think we talked about that. I think I'm maybe repeating some of these things. So this is what I mean, Ray. I'm now scanning down and maybe jumping over some real questions because I saw all the repeated questions. Okay, finally, Ray says, thank you, mate. It's helpful a lot. There you go. Finally. Ella Gia, what impact will it be if Joe wins the election who already have their visas in hand? Okay, interesting. Okay, so let's look at this. If you already have your visa in your hand because you got it in late September thanks to the lawsuit, right? You probably have until about March to enter the USA. If Trump wins on November 3rd, it's possible, unlikely, but possible, then he could extend the travel ban and beyond beyond December 31st, in which case we've got a problem, and probably all of that work might be lost, right? You might still not get a chance to enter. At that point, frankly, people, if that happens, I will be strongly recommending that people try and enter the USA with your valid visa. Now, you're not supposed to be able to enter the USA with the visa, but the system is set up so badly and they're so confused how to implement things that you may be able to enter anyway. But don't do that yet because Trump hasn't won it yet, right? So come back and we need to have this sort of session after November 3rd, and I'll give some very specific information to people if Trump wins, because if Trump wins, we've got a different set of problems, right? If Trump doesn't win, he might still extend the ban, but then you just have to wait until January 20th or thereabouts, maybe 27th or the end of January or something, for Biden to remove that. Okay. So you'll just have to be a bit patient at that point. Okay, so there you go. So that will be Elia. Hopefully that explains it. You just have to wait at that point if Biden wins. Okay. Suresh Kumar says, I entered in DV this year with my current passport number and it will expire in 5 months. We'll get a new passport. How can I update the new passport number? You won't update it, but if you're selected, you'll need to prove the old passport and the new passport. You'll need to provide evidence of both of those to KCC and the embassy. Fi says, I have an expired passport. Can I apply? No, because that's why they're asking for an unexpired passport. So you have to get a new passport. You still have time. You have another 2 weeks before the entry period ends, so you may have time to get a new passport. If you can't do that in the next 2 weeks, then don't apply. Web Fiji says, I tried Firefox, it works. I had issues with Chrome, IE, and Edge. Interesting. So Firefox worked better for you. Clash says, yeah, you can select the no degree option. And what if you don't have any degrees? You don't have to have a degree. You need to be The level of education that you need to actually process your case is that you need to be ready to enter university, right? So enough high school education or secondary level education, as it's technically termed, in order to then be able to enter university. If you don't have that level of education, then you can pass and be approved if you have got work experience in some types of work, not all work. Can't be a lumberjack, and but if you've got 2 years of experience in a professional level job in the last 5 years, then you can process. Okay, and Miss Gunner, I think I just answered your question by mistake there, but so there you go. That's your answer. Himself, hi Simon. I've played the lottery almost 9 times. What could be the mistake could I be making? The only mistake you could be making is thinking that you're going to win. It's not a guarantee. It's not a plan. Your chance of selection is something like 1 in 100 or 1 in 200. You can only enter one chance a year. So that means you might not win after applying for 100 years, right? So it's not a plan. It's a lottery. That's why it's so special to win. The people that have won have got an extraordinary chance, right? So just keep trying and maybe you'll get lucky, but maybe you never will. That's the way it works. Augustina says, welcome back, sir. Can one play as married without the picture of the spouse because my husband is not around? Not possible to have his photo. No, you can't. If you're married, you have to include a photo of your spouse. And if you've got children, you have to include the photo of children. That's an absolute rule. You can't break that rule. Okay. Saidullah says, what about Afghanistan? Yeah, again, same position as everyone else, just going to have to wait, right? I mean, Afghanistan's got some problems, but hopefully things will get better later. We'll see. Mohammed, yeah, so you're asking the same thing, Mohammed, that I answered a few moments ago, which was, will the issuance date be September 30th on the 9,095 visas? We don't know for sure. It might be. It might be, but we don't know for sure. We have to wait and see. Web Fiji. Oh yeah. Yep. Exactly. So Web Fiji won on his first attempt. Mine was the second attempt. So sometimes you get it early. Saint Sent is asking, what if I send documents even though they didn't ask me? Sending documents won't speed up your case. Your case number is 42XXX in Africa. That means you're going to be waiting several months anyway, probably until, March, April, May of next year for interview, right? Could be like that. So there is no advantage to sending in documents now, right? There may be a disadvantage in that if they're not ready for you to send documents and you send the documents, you might be thinking that they have your documents and they just trash them, right? So I personally, at this point, I would wait. Later on, if they still aren't asking for documents from some cases in a few months' time, then I start to suggest that people proactively send the documents whether they've been asked or not. So my advice will change over the next few months. But for now, my advice is wait to be asked before you send documents. Okay, so it's sent. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Well, I'm just going to look through here. Good question. Good Humans for a Better World asks, with the current global financial crisis and the pandemic, do you still vouch that it is worth it to emigrate to the USA? It's a great question because some of the 132,000 DV2021 winners, we know that some number of those won't try and proceed, and to some extent, it's because they are thinking, well, okay, what opportunity will there be for me in the USA? We know that when the economy in the USA is going very well, demand for immigration to the USA is much higher. Right now, we've got a heavily divided, politically divided country. We've got blatant racism left, right, and center because Trump is a racist and a moron. And so, the economy has been decimated because of the pandemic. There are millions of people unemployed that a few months ago had a job. Is it a good time to come to the USA? Not really. Having said that, it depends very much about how you can cope, right? It depends what you do for a living. It depends on your expectations. Depends whether you're coming with some money so that you can, sort of find your way around. So it depends on your situation. But it's true that the USA is not quite as attractive as it was, let's say, a few years ago. For all the reasons I just gave. Now, if Biden gets in, then some of the political situations will be, over time improving. There won't be so much blatant racism and systemic racism. There'll be some better things about that. The economy will improve. So it'll get better. All I can tell you is I was doing very well in Europe. In my professional career, I was doing well in Europe, but I do better in the USA. The USA is a win-win place. There's a lot of opportunity here still, and if you're well educated, if you're confident in your abilities, if you've got good skills, etc., you can do very well. I do think that I'm worried, and I've thought about creating a video about people that come here without the proper skills to survive or to thrive. There's opportunity here, but if you are looking for an easy ride, if you expect the government to provide things for you and that sort of thing, America's not a very good place for you. If, on the other hand, you're prepared to work hard and you want to make, you want to make plenty of money, you want to get, opportunity, and you're prepared to work hard for that, and then America is still a great place to be. So, take what you want from that. Good Humans for a Better World. Yeah, the hearing today, Jacko, is about the stay. That I think it's going to be a non-event. The government have asked to stay the case. I think it'll be turned down, but it started, I think, a few moments ago. So we'll hear about the update from the lawyers I would say, over the next hour or so. Bernice Hammond says, I've completed the nursing training college and have a certificate in nursing. Which education level should I select? Nursing is vocational education. It's not education, right? So level should be whatever you did in school. That's not to do with your nursing. Your nursing certificate is a separate thing. You just list that as part of the training you did. Nursing, by the way, is a great career in the USA, very well paid. Much better. I come from the UK, and nurses weren't particularly well paid there. But in the USA, nurses can earn very good money, extraordinary money, right? So depending on the specialty. So, well worth coming over here. Okay, I don't know how to pronounce your name, but what impact will it be if Trump wins and gives the USA vaccine for COVID 2019 before? I mean, he's not going to give anyone a vaccine because he hasn't got a vaccine, because he's an idiot. He can barely spell the word vaccine, right? Firstly. Secondly, even if a vaccine were developed by one of the companies developing it, it's going to take, there's 320 million people live in the USA. It's going to take months and months and months for everyone to be vaccinated. And we don't know how long any immunity lasts from a vaccination yet. So we don't know the vaccination is going to be, a solve to our problem. So, and then you're talking about people who already have the visas. I think I talked about that one earlier. So, yeah. Can I renew my passport after I apply for the DV lottery, says Peter Ta. Yes, you can. How select, Amit's asking how select this lottery. It's completely random, right? Clash is asking the same question about 78 times. He's trying to compete with our gentleman from earlier, Raid, that just repeats the question over and over again. Ahmed says, I have a diploma from college. What should I choose in education level? high school. I mean, choose anything. It doesn't matter. The level of education you choose in the lottery process doesn't affect your chance of selection and won't be used against you in any way. So just choose whatever is most accurate. Okay. Fernando Gelpi is asking, what's the education requirements for 2021 lottery? Basically, US high school graduate. So that's basically an 18-year-old kid that has gone through secondary education up to what they call high school in America, and then is about to go to college. They call it college in America. It's called university in most other countries. So at the point at which a high school educated or secondary level educated kid about 18 years old can then enter university, that's the level of education they're expecting. You need to be qualified to that level, have the passes at that level. Okay, let me scan down. About an hour now, so I need to just I need to stop fairly quickly or fairly soon. Fevin is saying, I got PhD. Can I apply for DV2022 with my kids and husband? Yeah, absolutely. It's, you know, your level of education doesn't have to hold you back, even though you've got a PhD. Nebu Solomon says, I'm DV2021 winner from Ethiopia, but didn't get an email from KCC. Case number is AF13K. Okay, so, you know, that's not really a problem because they're not interviewing at the moment, but you could wait a few more weeks and see if they send the email. You may be missing the email. It may have gone to trash or, you know, spam filter or something. Fernando Gelpi, a GED. So no, a GED won't do it. The GED is sort of like a testing out thing to get to that level of education. You need a formal course of secondary education. That's the level, right? Miss Rebecca says, hey, Miss Rebecca, how you doing? David Hoare, have any hope to travel USA before December 31st? So, David, I addressed this earlier. Some people have done that and succeeded. I'm not sure. I don't want to recommend that people try that, but some people have done and they've succeeded. Some other people have tried and they've been turned around. They've been turned around at the port of entry. So, you know, be careful. I mean, most people should just wait until after January, I think. Ashley West says, "Hi, hey, Cy." It's funny people call me Cy. That's people who know me call me Cy. Missed you and your updates. Hope you're doing well. I am great. Thank you, Ashley. Sathyan Kumar, hey BritSimon, what to do if our browser goes connection rest for blank? Yeah, so you can enter as you know, you can try entry again. Just do it, go through it fast. Someone earlier recommended using Firefox as a browser. Go through the application fairly quickly. If you're messing around and you're trying for 15 minutes to fill in the form, you're likely to get a problem. Okay, so do it quickly. Ellie Square is saying, can you apply for B1, B2 tourist visas for your daughter if you're lottery winners? We all have except hers. You can, but be careful because I should imagine your intention would be to adjust her status once you're in the USA, and you have to be very careful about that because you mustn't enter with a plan to adjust status on some visa types, including B1, B2. So, so the specifics about that, Ellie, why you haven't got a visa for the daughter and everything else, maybe you want to post a question on my blog and give me more detail so I can answer that better. Okay, 66 Mac. Yes, if you've won in 2020 or 2021, you can apply. You can participate in 2022. Rabin is asking. He's impatient. You need to just be patient. Wait. Manuel Carl says, a friend of mine is in the military in Ghana and is finding it difficult to get his military record because it is highly confidential. What suggestion will you give him? He's going to have to get his military record, confidential or not. If he can't do that, he shouldn't proceed. So there you go. Costco. What advice do you give to increase your chance for DV program? There is a golden rule about increasing your chances for DV program, Costco. I hope you're listening. Number one, you have to enter. If you don't enter, you're not going to get selected. That's 100% certain, right? You have to enter. Number two, you have to read all the instructions, and you have to make sure you're following the instructions, right? And number three, the big secret number three is everyone is chosen randomly. So there is no other special trick to this. It's simply entering and doing it correct. That's it. And there's no other way of increasing your chances. Okay. Wadi Issa, my CN is AS 11,000, DV 2021. What is better for us, Biden or Trump to win? Look, Biden's better in every way, right? It'll be a better America. It'll be better for people. But I understand your question. Trump might be better for your case number and worse for every other aspect of your life. So there you go. Mohan Buddha, namaste. When we'll start DV 2020? I don't know when they're going to start that process, or we have to wait for the lawsuit to sort of finish its course. Okay, this is a question I get often. So Jitin George says, my case number is AS 28,000. Does current mean interview for everyone? Right. Yes, it does, sort of. Current actually means when they put a region current, they say Asia region or Africa region is current. That means that they've looked at all the remaining cases that are left to be processed that haven't been interviewed yet, that have submitted their DS260 and their documents. And they say, okay, there's 5,000 of these people left and we got 6,000 visas. So we may as well just make the whole region current, right? There's enough visas for everybody that's left. That's what it means. The problem is that if there are too many selectees, we'll never see current. That's the reality, right? And your number AS 28,000 is fairly high, so it's not like those things are disconnected. They only make it current if there's enough visas. If there's too many selectees, we won't see current. Shafna Shinaz says, you applied for DV lottery from Sri Lanka. You'll be flying in January to Canada on study permit. If you won, can you go to the USA from Canada Embassy? Yes, you could process there. Lahiru, I've missed my question twice. Wanted to know, do I have to use my sponsor's address as my US address when updating the DS260? No, not necessarily. You can use any address of a friend, a family member, could be the sponsor, whoever you want. The address that you put on the DS260 is where your green card is sent. Doesn't mean that you're going to live there or anything else really, just where you want the green card sent. The Thomas Saban, when will the next VB be issued? I think today or tomorrow. Irina C, interesting question, says, you filled out the DS260, but you haven't pressed submit yet at the end. Is that considered immigrant intent? No, I don't think it is. I think submitting it will be immigrant intent. Shafna Shanaz. Yeah, I answered you, Shafna. All right, so, well, still no, but yeah. Okay. Jithin George, I am a permanent resident in Canada. I have a B1, B2 visa. So even if there's an immigrant ban, would it be well, there's a ban for entry from Canada at the moment. So so that's not really going to help you at the moment. Finally. Finally, oh sorry, excuse me. Gesh Twinner, I think. Any update progress about the 9095? I've talked about that. Can I make my photo with a Hawaii or whatever it is? You can use any mobile phone you like. Doesn't matter which phone you use. Fi, can you renew after applying, then apply for DV 2022? Yeah, you can do that, Fi. You can do that. Ushawu, if someone is in the US, can you ask him to play the game for you? I don't think anybody should ask anyone else to play for you because you're giving them information about yourself and you're opening yourself up to being exploited later on. So it's a bad idea. Apply for yourself. I mean, technically, can someone apply for you? Yes, they can, but it's just a bad idea. Okay. Okay, a couple more questions and then that'll be it. I'm currently studying in Canada. I entered DV2022. If selected, yeah, I've already done that one. So Santiago, you can process in Canada. You can interview there. Absolutely fine. Premex says, hope you're doing good. I was selected for 2020 and I had submitted DS260 at June, but I did not receive an email about the document. I wonder if you mean DV2021 Premex. Tell me, I think you mean 2021. FM Beauty says, I look perfectly splendid today. Thank you. That's that's awesome. Not many people describe me that. Not Mahmood. Oh, I might just have been disconnected. AF1 and AF 60,000. I can't be that precise at the moment. We'll have to wait until we see the SEAC data, which will be in January. I can't tell the distribution of the holes. I know how many holes there will be throughout the whole of Africa right now. I already know that. But I can't tell you what the distribution will be, and it depends on the graph. You've seen the graphs, I think, Bundix. So we'll have to wait and see how they look. Okay, I just want to look for Pramex's response. No, he's not responded. So okay. Okay, guys. So I think I've answered. There's a few repetitive questions here. Oh, Pramex, yes, 2021. Okay. Right. So you sent your DS260 at June, but you haven't received an email yet. Your case number is 9K. 9K where, Pramex? Come on. Region is important, but if you mean Asia, for example, that's not a low case number. So, so just wait. I'd say in general, Premex, just wait. Okay. Okay. Desperate Hiking is following up on whether it's okay that I've submitted documents late August and there's no ready for scheduling. EU 8000. That's kind of, you might want to email them. But late August, yeah. I think Desperate Hiking, I think they've been in August and September they were working only on DV2020, so they stopped working on DV2021. So that's probably created a delay or backlog that has probably affected your case. So that's probably the reason. I would say give them another 3 or 4 weeks and then ask them. Desperate Hiking, okay. Nepal, I haven't seen a question from Nepal. I just saw one, so let me see if I can find Nepalese. Where is that? Galaxy Dodge says is from Peru. Bienvenido from Peru. Oh, I just saw something from Nepal and I lost it. No. Abdullah is saying, my dad forgot to put the first alphabet of his passport number. If he got selected, will it affect the case? Probably not. That would be okay. Sometimes passports start with a sort of a random alphabet number, and then they have a numeric number. As long as you got the numeric part, I think they would accept that. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to have to cut this short. It's now, I've been on this for an hour and 30 minutes. It's a long time. So I hope that was helpful. And, fingers crossed for all the people that are entering DV 2022 at the moment. That's, it's awesome. Very optimistic about that. Let's hope that in a week's time, 7-8 days time, the election goes the way we want it to go and things will get better. I certainly have my fingers crossed. I'll try and do another Q&A in a few days time, another week's time. And anyone that hasn't entered DV 2022, whether you're a previous winner, 2020 or 2021, go ahead and enter. There's no harm in entering. Okay. All right, guys. Costco, I don't know exactly when the next live will be, but in a week's time or soon. Vendor saying, quick question is, so Vendor official is Sri Lankans can be rejected for the DV 2022. I mean, some will be Vendor, some won't be, but there's no ban on Sri Lankans. Anyway, people, okay, thanks everyone. Bye bye now. Make sure you're subscribed, please. All right, bye bye.